Okay, this is NCERT class 16, and in this book we are going to read about the tracing changes through 1,000 years, new kings and kingdom, the Delhi Sultanate, the sultans. Then we had the Mughal Empire. Then we will read about the rulers and building, and then we will read about town traders and craftsperson. Then we will have a conclusion of tribes, nomads, and settled communities. Then we will go through the devotional path to the divine. Then we had the making of the regional culture. Then we had the 18th century political formation. So coming to the next, this is the chapter number one, that is tracing changes through 1,000 years. Like this is the map which have been made by the Arab geographer Al-Idrisi, and this is detailed of Indian subcontinent from the larger map of the world. So it is the map number two that is here. It is been made by the French cartographer. Okay, in 1720, cartographers are the person who makes map. And before that, before going anywhere else, we can say in science and technology we will come across the Cartosat series satellite, and they are used and launched by ISRO to have observation of the Earth. And anyone who is interested in knowing the Earth from satellite view in today time, then they can search for Earth Earth from space. Okay, and this has been a series of BBC, and you can see it's a fantastic series. You can have this if you have curiosity there. Now moving to the name, that in Al Idrisi map, the South India where we would expect to find North India means that was purely reverse. If it seems that North India, it was South India, so it was reversed the reality, and Sri Lanka is on the top of this. So that was the problem of this, and places were marked in Arabic. So this is how, but this is made by the French photographer in 1720, and this map was used by the European sailors and merchants on their voyages. Now we have equally important the fact that the science of cartography is differed in the two periods. When historians read the document, map, and text from the past, they have to be sensitive about different historical background and the context in which the information about the past was produced, like new and old terminology. The thing is that historical record exists in a variety of languages, which have changed considerably over the years. Like the medieval Persia is different from the modern Persia. Okay, the difference is not just regard to the grammar and vocabulary, but the meaning of the words also changed over the time. Like the evolution of the word India, the term of Hindustan, which we use today. We understand it as India, the modern Indian state, nation state. When the term was used in the 13th century by Minhaj-e-Siraj, a chronicler who wrote in Persian, he means the area of Punjab only, land between the Ganga and Yamuna. So he used the term in a political sense for the land that were the part of the dominion of the Delhi Sultan. The area included in this term shifted with the extent of the Sultanate, but the term never includes South India within it. So, by contrast, the early 16th century, Babur used the Hindustan to describe the geography, fauna, and the culture and inhabitant of the subcontinent. So, this is how the things differ. That the name Hindustan, which undertakes the meaning of the political sense and the regional political regional boundary of the Punjab region at its initial position, later it converted to the Indian subcontinent itself. So we have to be very conscious about this. Like as we will see later in this chapter, that this was sometime somewhat similar the way 14th century poet Amir Khusro used the word Hind. While the idea of geographical and cultural entity like India did exist at that point of time, the term Hindustan did not carry the political and national meaning which we associate with it today. Students have to be careful about the terms they use because they meant different thing in the past. Like it says that the foreigners, which means that who is not Indian. But in medieval period, the foreigners means any stranger who appeared in the village, whether he, matlab, any man who is not from that village itself. If he is from the neighborhood village, then it is also named as Pardesi or Ajnabi. Okay, a city dweller for the regard the forest dweller as foreigner, but the both have been living in the same village were not foreigners to each other. Okay, so this is what the thing says. But before moving to the next term, we have to remember the thing that Minhaj ul Silaj was a contemporary to the Delhi Sultanate, and the chronology is that first come the Gori, and Gori come with the Al-Baruni, who wrote the Kitab al-Hind. Then we had Minhaj al-Siraj. Then we will have Amir Khusro. Then we will have Babur, which have been named mentioned. So first Gori, along with them Al-Baruni came, then Minhaj, then Amir Khusro, then we have Babur. Now the words have their own background, their own meaning. Now historians and their source. Historians use different types of source to learn about the past, depending on the period of their study and nature of their investigation. So you will notice that some continuity in the sources used by the historian for study of the period that is 700 to 1750 AD CE, the Common Era. But there are also considerable discontinuity between them. There are some inscriptions, coins, architecture, and textual record. But the number and variety of textual record increased dramatically during this period. And though paper generally become cheaper and more available, people used it to write the holy texts and chronicles of rulers. Okay, so this is how the paper was used, and this is the story how the paper is valued. Like in the medieval and 13th century, a scholar wanted to copy a book. Okay, so he was the writing on the manuscript, and he did, but though he did not wanted to do, and write and used it. So so as a letter, if you bought some food in the market, you could luckily have the shopkeeper wrap you the things in paper. So this is something very important. Now coming to the next point, that people use the paper to write the holy texts and chronicles of rulers, letters, and teaching of saints. Manuscripts were collected and by the wealthy peoples, rulers, monasteries, and temples. They were placed in the library and archives. So archives are the places where the documents or manuscripts are stored in a very good temperature and pressure, so they do not get ruined away. And today, all the national and state government have their archives there, and where they keep all the records of the official transaction. Now, we had a new information about the National Archives of India. It is under the Ministry of Culture, and first time it was proposed in 11th of March 1891 at Kolkata. But following the transfer of the capital from Kolkata to Delhi in 1911, the present building of National Archive was constructed by Sir Edwin Lutyens. This is some a small information about the National Archive. Now we have there are no printing press in those days, so scribes copied manuscript. We came to know about scribe in chapter number first or second of the class number 6, where we see that scribes were the specialists who used to write and make seals. They copied manuscript by hand. Sometimes if your friend write it, then you cannot able to guess it or get an understanding. So manuscript copying led to some amount of differences, and this is something that was uh, going on. So we have miniature paintings were sometimes used in order to illustrate the text of the manuscript, because paintings have many things to say. So sometimes paintings have been used in order to indicate the real picture and real meaning of that. Then we had to a style of writing. This is the Nas- Nastalic, that is in the left, and then we have Sikaste in the right. Nastalic is to an extent cursive and easy to read, while Shikasti on the right is denser and more difficult to read. So these were the two styles. You must have to remember all this. Now there is a serious problem to find original manuscript of the author today. Now we have various occasion chronicles have been written down and they have been placed it. Now they have been copied out, but sometimes the original writer who wrote these things they used to update the things, and it might be hard enough for the peoples to get the updated version because they have to write all the things in a very sequential manner again. So it was the things and the problems that was going on at that point of time. Now we have new social and political groups. Like the study of the thousands years between 700 to 750 is a huge challenge for historians. Largely, we call variety of development occurred during this period. At different moments in this period, technology made their appearance, like Persian wheel irrigation, spinning wheel in the weaving, firearms in the combat, new foods and beverage arrived in the subcontinent like potato, corn, chilies, tea, and coffee. So all the innovation and new technology came along with the people who brought other ideas with them as well. So as a result, this period was of economic, political, social, and cultural changes. Like what are the changes? The book mentioned that Persian wheel in irrigation, spinning wheel in the weaving, and firearms in the combat. That has been used by Babur itself. Okay, so that was the scene we had. Now, coming to the next, we had this was a period of the great mobility because people could travel to a great distance in search of opportunity, and there was a rise of important people and group that was named as Rajputs that derived from the word Rajputra, that is son of the ruler. Between the 8th and 14th century, the term was applied more generally to a body of warriors who claimed Kshatriya caste status. Now, the term includes not just the ruler and chieftain, but also soldier and commander who served in the army of different monarchs over the subcontinent. So this is how the things going on. Now we have a code of conduct that is extreme valor and great sense of loyalty were the qualities attributed to the Rajputs by their poets and bards. Now we have other groups also, that is the people such as Maratha, Sikh, Jats, Ahom and Kayas also use the opportunity of the age to become politically important. Okay, so Rajput was a term which is used in the 14th century, term for all ruler and who served in the army. Now we have social, that is tribes come in the mainstream, and we will come into know these things in the latter phases. Like throughout this period, there was a gradual clearing of the forest because the iron was discovered already, and the extension of agriculture was happening. So a change that is faster and more complete in some areas than in others. So changes in the habitat forced many forest dwellers to migrate. Others started tilling the land and became peasants, and they were influenced by the regional market, chieftains, priests, monasteries, and temples, and they became part of the large complex societies and were required to pay taxes and offer goods and services to the local people. As a result, significant economic and social difference emerged among peasants. So this is how rich, poor, and things have been concerned there. So we come to know that there was a tribe who do not have any significant amount of economic difference between them. They worked for the common goal, and while the older peoples were respected in this. So these things are going to be changed in this period because they become the peasants and uh, they they try to gain the economic value, and this there emerged social differences among the peasants itself. So a society became more differentiated and peoples were grouped into jatis or their subcaste and ranked on the basis of their background and their occupation. And this is how the things evolve. Now jati framed their own rule and regulation to manage their conduct, and they had owned some area of jati panchayat. But the jati were also required to follow the rules of the village also, and they are governed by a chieftain. So this is how the things were going on. So we come to know that there were changes in the Rajput term, there was change in the social, that is the tribes in the mainstream. Okay, come in the mainstream, become a taxpayer and become a peasant. Social differences are created because of the market forces, and there was polity of firearm. There was economic, that is the new variety of agriculture products have been introduced. Geography is that mobility increased. There was a number of things have been increased, spinning wheel, and then we had irrigation technique have been used. So this is how the things changed. And now we had the region and empire. The large state like Chola or Mughal, which we will study in the latter chapter, encompassed many regions. A Sanskrit Prasasti that is praising the Delhi Sultan Ghiyasuddin Balban. Okay, explained that he was the ruler of the vast empire that stretched from the Bengal in the east to the Ghazni in the west, including all South India. So Prasasti is also for Balban, like we have Allahabad Prasasti of Samudragupta written by Harishen. Okay. Then we had Ravi Kriti Prasasti of Pulkeshin too, which we had studied in the Harshvardhan and their march to the Deccan. Then Gautamiputra Balashri Satkarni, they had also made the processes of that. So a number of processes. So we have this now. Region and empire have been in this in the processes, and they were this was from the Ghiyasuddin Balban. He was one of the greatest ruler, and he made a vast empire from all the west to include all the South India itself. Now we have the provinces of Delhi, which have been the during Sultanate period. Muhammad Tughlaq region, according to the Egyptian source, Mashalik al Abshar. Okay, that was these were the some people who might be if they are important enough, then they are contemporary to Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so this is how what the things were. This is the map of that with Ramjani Malabar and okay. Let us move to the next one. This is the okay. Now moving to the next, we had language and region. In 1318, the poet Amir Khusro noted that there was a different language in every region of this land, like Sindhi, Lahori, Kashmiri, Dwarshmodi, Dwarshamudri. Then we had Telangani. Then we had Guzari, that is Mabari in Tamil Nadu, Gauri in Bengal. Then we had Awadhi. Then we have Hindawi. So Amir Khusro went and explained the contrast of this language. There was Sanskrit which do not belongs to any region. It was old language and common people do not know. Only Brahmins do. So if you consider the modern times, then it could be a question that Amir Khusro mentioned about that Sanskrit had been used in the area of Tamil or in the North India any area. So it was not the language of the common people. Only Brahmins did speak of this language. So this could be a question there. Now moving to the next, we have by 700 many regions already passed distinct geographical dimension and their own language and cultural characteristics. Now, there were considerable conflict between the states, like Chola, Khilji, Tughlaq, Mughals were all were able to build an empire that was pan-regional, spanning diverse region. Okay, so this is how the things were going on. What the conflict led to the decline when the Mughal Empire declined in the 18th century, it led to the reemergence of the regional state. Okay, and but the year of imperial pan-regional rule had altered the character of the region. Now, region who were under the Mughal rule, a stronghold of the center, they became independent, but they got influenced by many their tradition in the realm of governance, in the management of economy, in elite culture and language. They felt the impact on pan-regional forces of integration without ever quite losing their distinctiveness. Okay, so this is how the legacies have been remained, even the uh, empires have been declined. So this is how the things were going on. Now we have old and new religions. The thousands years of history that we are exploring witness a major development in the religious tradition. Like people believe in the divine was sometimes deeply personal, but more usually it was collective. The collective belief is a supernatural agency. Religion was often closely connected with the social and economic organization of the local communities. Now, we have it was during this period that important changes occurred in what we call Hinduism today. This included new worship of new deity, construction of new temple, royalty, and growing importance of Brahmins, priests, dominant groups in the society. So, whenever there is increase in conflict, the role of priest and their position increasing, which we saw that where there was Ashwamedh Yagna, the role of priest was increasing because the sacrifices have been told as the power and prestige of the king, and this is how the kings were coronated. So this is how the role of Brahmins increased once again. Now knowledge of Sanskrit earned Brahmins a lot of respect. The dominant position was consolidated by the support of their patrons, the new rulers who were searching for the prestige. Okay, we will see that one major development was emergence of the idea of bhakti, of loving personal deity, that is of the two-way contact. There is no anyone between them, just two-way contact with you and your devotee. So this is how the things have been elaborated. Now we have one major change that collective belief in the supernatural agency. Religion was obviously often closely connected with the social and economic organization of the local community. We will see how these things work and their daily life have been connected to the religion. We will see in the next one. We have written the definition of patron, that was an influential wealthy person who support another person. Now, this is the period when the new religions appeared up in the subcontinent, like the merchant migrate. They first brought the teaching of the Holy Quran to India in the 7th century. Okay, so Muslim regard Quran as the holy book and accept the sovereignty of the only one thing, that is God, that is Allah, and whose love, mercy, and beauty embrace all those who believed in, without regard to the social background. So it focuses on the equality. Okay, so brotherhood. Many rulers who patron of Islam and the ulama learned theology and jurisprudence. Okay, so, and like Hinduism, Islam was interpreted in various ways by its follower. Like those who were Shia Muslim, who believes in that the Prophet son-in-law Ali was the legitimate leader of the Muslim community, and those who are Sunni who accepted the authority of the early leader, that is Khalifa of the community, and there were important differences between the various school of law, that is Hanafi, Shafi, Safi is that is mainly present in India and in theology and mystical tradition. So this is how the new religions appeared, and they all have the influence of the Bhakti. We will see. Then we had thinking about the time and historical period. Like historians do not see time just as the passing of the hour, or clock outlined as the people do. Time also reflects changes in the social and economic organization. In the persistence of transformation of idea and belief, the story of time is somewhat easier by dividing it into various periods. Like the British historians divided the history of India into three phases: Hindu phases, Muslim phases, and British phases. The division based on the idea of religion is something important is important by the dominant historical changes which happened. However, there was no significant development in the economy, society, and culture. So this division has been ignored by the modern historians. Now they followed to make periodization based on the economic and social factor and to characterize the major element of different moment of the past. So they divided into ancient, medieval, and the modern times. So this is something that has been required. So the development of Hinduism and Islam as a major religion and arrival of European companies has been covered in the medieval period. So this is how the things were going on. Now we have these thousands years of Indian history witnessed a considerable change. After all, the 16th and 18th century were quite different from the 8th and 11th century. Okay, so therefore describing the entire period as a historical unit is not without its problem. So it is all about making a comparison with that the earlier past was not similar um, to the present generation, and even we see that it is our past series, like the past of the king was different from the life of villagers and from the tribes. So we have to be very careful about the words which we will use. So modernity carries with it sense of material progress and intellectual advancement, and it seems that medieval period was lacking any change whatsoever. So during these thousands years, the society of the subcontinent were transformed often and economic in the several regions reached a level of prosperity that attracted the interest of European trading companies. Now, there have been changes which attracted the European trading companies. There must have to look for the sign of changes in the historical process. We need to try and compare what are the changes and what are the changes we will look around the world. Okay, so this is how the things will work, and this is the end of chapter number 1. Now we will go to the chapter number 2 itself, and we will take a break, and then we will continue.